The Whispering Woods. Deep in the heart of the Whispering Woods, there was a village that no one dared to enter after dusk. The villagers spoke of an ancient curse that haunted the forest, a curse that had claimed the lives of many who wandered too far from the safety of their homes. One evening, a traveler named Mara arrived in the village. She was bold and curious, uninterested in the superstitions that gripped the locals. The villagers warned her to leave before nightfall, but she laughed off their fears. Stories to scare children, she thought. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Mara ventured into the woods, determined to uncover the truth behind the tales. The trees stood tall and twisted, their gnarled branches like skeletal fingers reaching out to the darkening sky. The deeper she went, the quieter the forest became. Not a single bird sang, and the wind seemed to hold its breath. Mara's footsteps crunched on the fallen leaves, the only sound in the oppressive silence. Then she heard it, a soft whisper, barely audible, like the rustle of leaves. She paused, straining to hear. The whisper grew louder, weaving through the trees, wrapping around her like a cold breeze. It was not a single voice, but many, overlapping and echoing, forming words that chilled Mara to her core. "Leave before it's too late." Mara spun around, searching for the source, but the woods seemed empty, devoid of any living thing. Her heart pounded in her chest, but her curiosity pushed her onward. She moved deeper into the forest, the whispers growing more insistent, more frantic. "Turn back. She is coming." Mara's breath hitched. "Who?" she whispered back. Though she didn't expect an answer. The voices didn't respond, but the forest did. The air grew colder, and a thick fog began to roll in, curling around the trees and obscuring the path. The shadows seemed to shift and move in the corners of her vision, and the trees themselves appeared to lean closer, as if listening to the voices. Then she saw her. A figure emerged from the fog, barely visible at first, then solidifying into the form of a woman. Her hair was long and dark, covering her face, and her dress, once white, was stained with dirt and something darker. She moved with a slow, unnatural grace, her feet not touching the ground. Mara froze, her body unwilling to move. The whispers turned to wails, desperate and terrified, but the figure in the fog remained silent. As she drew closer, Mara could see her face, or what was left of it. Hollow eye sockets stared out from a decayed visage, and her mouth was twisted into an eternal scream. Mara tried to run, but her feet wouldn't obey. The woman reached out a bony hand, fingers impossibly long, and touched Mara's cheek. A cold so intense it burned shot through her, and the whispers stopped abruptly, leaving only the sound of Mara's own ragged breathing. The woman leaned in, her breath icy against Mara's ear, and in a voice that was 1,000 voices at once, she whispered, "You should have listened." Mara's scream echoed through the woods, but no one heard it. By dawn, the fog had lifted, and the village was as quiet as ever. The villagers went about their day, avoiding the forest's edge, as they always did. They never spoke of the traveler again, but sometimes, on a quiet night, if you listened closely, you could hear the faint sound of a woman's scream, carried on the wind through the whispering woods.